Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to show off three different palace builds that I've done. This first one is from 2012 or 2013. It was a very early project. You can see that I never even finished it. The basic idea was something similar to Buckingham Palace, but at the time I wasn't fully versed on the architectural elements of a palace, like Buckingham Palace or something from the 18th century or 19th century. You can see I had an idea of having a rusticated lower level, though it doesn't have very many windows. It's a little bit more of just a foundation, a raised foundation, rather than being its own floor. You can also see that it's a little small altogether. There wasn't a whole lot of space inside for me to do the rooms. But we'll go ahead and take a look from the courtyard here. It's also a little plain. I'm not crazy about the windows. Now, some of this also was due to limitations with Minecraft at the time. There were certain items and blocks that just didn't exist yet. Though I think that if I were still limited, knowing what I know now, I probably would make a few changes. Like these pillars here, I don't think I'd have such wide bases for them. Some of the rooms here, you can see the ceilings are very low. The floor is nothing special, it's just oak planks. You can see that I experimented a little bit with trying to have some engaged columns, pilasters, trying to have a little bit of striation and variation on the walls. But there's not really a ton of, it's not very obvious what each room is supposed to be. They're all just kind of ad hoc. This was supposed to be a throne room, which the throne looks a little funny. The whole thing is a little small. You can also see that I tried to make different colors for the walls of different rooms. I try not to have everything be exactly the same, even if a few rooms in a row might have the same color, like these green walls. And I tried to have some decorative elements like wool up on the walls, which in this texture pack has nice patterns to it. Here's another staircase. The staircases also, you can tell, aren't the most structurally sound if they existed in real life. It's definitely, especially if they were made out of stone, they wouldn't be able to really support themselves. So that was the first one. Now, here's a palace that I worked on a year or two after that. So we're talking 2013, 2014. Again, a similar idea to, say, Buckingham Palace. You have this central courtyard. Of course, with the last one and this one, I did have red brick for the facade, punctuated by sandstone columns and pilasters. This one also features a very large dome, which isn't a very common element of palace design if you look at famous palaces around the world throughout history. We also have here an addition that I put onto the palace, and we'll take a look on the inside of that a little bit later. At least with this palace, I resolved to be less strict as far as symmetry goes. When you look at the first one that I showed, even though it was very rudimentary, it was symmetrical. This one, I realized that a palace does not have to be symmetrical. Especially a royal residence over the years will have additions, it will have new wings put on, and it's not always going to keep the cohesive symmetry that maybe the first portion was built with. Now, this one, we come inside to an entrance hall, and it has a staircase right here in front. Now, I was being a little creative with the quadruple columns here, and all the nice little vantage points and balconies. You can see that I used anvils here to have some nice railings. This is also a project that I never got around to finishing. Um, most of my Minecraft projects have just gone unfinished because over time I moved on to something else, or I just wanted to start over from scratch. It's a somewhat new thing that projects like Windsor Castle or Versailles or Buckingham Palace have been start to finish completed. You can also see that I just used this terracotta for the floors, and the floor below is all glowstone. That was for the sake of preventing snow from accumulating and also giving me a bit of light while I build. Similar idea with this palace where the rooms don't all necessarily have a specific use. We do have this one, which was made to be a throne room, something very large, a hall that could host, I don't know, a ball or a ceremonial events. Think of something kind of like the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles. We have here another throne, a little bit better than the last one that I had done. And here we have some more rooms. Again, you can see I played around with some of the colors. This is underneath the dome. I was kind of winging it here. I think it kind of turned out a bit like a shopping mall. The windows are kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly what I was thinking putting the paintings up there. I probably should have tried to do some kind of relief or statue in each of those places instead. And we have this gallery that goes around the top with a spiral staircase, which actually goes all the way up to a hidden staircase to underneath the dome. I put a secret throne room. This was just me having a little bit of fun, just playing around a little bit. But you can see that, like the floor, it's all just oak planks. It's kind of boring. Again, with being like a shopping mall, we have this just blue wall of glass all the way around. You can also see that the courtyard isn't spectacular. There's not a whole lot down there. It's not very interesting. It's not very practical either. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Going back down here to the balcony, we'll go ahead and jump down, go through the rest of the inside. Now, I did fix from the last palace the ceiling height. It's more regal here, it's more proportional for the width of the rooms. We have here one of the staircases. It's in a corner of the palace, the idea being that it will be a good place to have a staircase. And it's kind of a free floating staircase that goes up. I think it looks a bit more structurally sound than in that first palace that I showed. Here we have some more rooms with nice high ceilings. Now next we'll take a look at a room where I think the details are a lot better than anything else in this palace. We have lots of paintings, lots of items on the walls. The whole thing, I think, looks both very cozy but also very regal. It looks like a room that you would find in a palace or a castle. Some of the other rooms, they're a little bit more plain. We have the hallway with some paintings up on the walls. We have fireplaces. Every room would have a fireplace. Here's another staircase at another corner of the palace. Slightly different design, but same idea. It kind of freely floats up. Now, what we are kind of missing is a series of doorways that would really go along the outer wall near the windows from one room to the next, creating what's called an enfilade. That's something that is very common in palace architecture in real life. It's something that you see in Versailles. It's something you see in Buckingham Palace. And we'll see in my next palace build that I show what it's supposed to look like and how this palace and the one before were lacking in that area. Now here going to the addition, this was actually based off of the Library of Congress in DC, specifically the Jefferson Building with the entry hall and then the central reading room. The proportions are a little bit off from real life. I just used pictures of the real life one as an example. It was also before I had actually visited the Library of Congress. But I liked how light and airy it looked. I wanted to have those double columns. And that's also part of why the proportions are off, because this was before there were the different wall textures in Minecraft. So it didn't even occur to me to make the supporting pillars out of walls, just to use the quartz block that we have here. And then going up, we'll take a look down in the central reading room. I imagine this to be like the library in the palace. Although in real life, palaces didn't necessarily have libraries like you would imagine from, say, Beauty and the Beast, or a large room like this full of books. Libraries, I mean, when we're going back, they used to be a bit more decentralized with different rooms for different parts of the library for the use of different members of the royal family. Now here we're taking a look at my Buckingham Palace build, which is from just a few years ago. I finished it, I think, in time for the coronation of Charles. Now, it's not a perfect recreation of Buckingham Palace. It's definitely inspired by it. I did go a little bit larger, though, in scale. And there's a lot that I improvised on. Even here, the central vestibule looking forward is a room that I just improvised on. The staircase, I looked at reference pictures. And you can see that it looks a bit more structurally sound than the grand staircases in the previous two palaces. Here we have the throne room, which I did try to recreate from the real-life Buckingham Palace throne room. And I made sure to use more delicate details like banners. Of course, there are my custom chair models and custom ottoman models. But we have a little bit more in the way of plants and side tables and lamps. This part of the palace has the largest rooms, the staterooms, and you can see that these ceilings really go up far. And it's not just one or two rooms, it's all of these staterooms. They have nice, tall ceilings. And then going from here into the state ballroom, we have another pair of thrones, and it's set for a state dinner. And we have nice engaged pilasters along the walls, nice wood paneling. That's another custom texture I came up with. And now we're going to a wing that I just used my own ideas for. You can tell this hallway is very boring. This room I made sure to have some wood paneling, some furniture. This one I tried a few different colors. I think that they came out well. A side staircase. And then here we'll see the series of rooms along the front facade of the palace. This is the enfilade that I had mentioned. See, a series of doorways that lead all the way down the length of the front of the palace from room to room. Now, there is a hallway through those doors over there, but hallways weren't always used in palace architecture. A lot of times, one room would lead into another. Now, you might have serviceways, places for maids and footmen to move about. So I hope you enjoyed this look into a few different palace builds that I've done over my entire career of Minecraft. Please check out some of my other videos, And if you want to see more of the Buckingham Palace build, I do have a full video about that. But let me know what you think, and I'll see you at the next one.